Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to Alien Protocols. As per your requests, this is another episode of Histories No Longer Mysteries. Mysteries. Almost all of these are from requests in the past 4 weeks, maybe a little more, 5 weeks. And I'm going to go through these quickly. I spent about 3 days doing the viewings on these. And we're going to dive right in. First is the Sakara bird. Is this the question was, is this proof that they knew how to make flying machines? And the answer is no. This was a toy. That's it. It was a toy. That's all I got from the readings. I had a kid playing with it in my visions and in my gestalts. So the Sakara bird is just a toy. Next is, how did they get the Stonehenge stones here? Well, there were a couple different methods utilized, but the main one was the stones were cut more circular and they rolled them sideways. And it was a lot easier than putting them on sleds or rollers. And they used poles to kind of help them roll. So that's the vision I got, is of them rolling sideways. Kind of interesting, but if you look at them now, even although they've had a lot of wear, you can see how that could certainly be possible, and it would be a challenge, but I think it would be much less of a challenge than other ways. So I got rolling for how were these Stonehenge stones moved. Next is, this one's interesting. Is there really a void in the pyramid, and what is in there? I got yes, there is. And I got that there is a giant sarcophagus in that room. And this is actually part of the reason, one of the main reasons why the pyramid was built. But there's nothing in that void, as far as I can tell. I didn't find a gigantic treasure, unfortunately. So that's the reading I got. Could be right, could be wrong, but that is what I got. So that was number 3. Let's go to number 4, which is, where are we here? The Bronze Age collapse. What happened to the Bronze Age? How come all those different cities and civilizations collapsed all at once? I got something that's actually very pertinent to us today. I've spoken in the past about a convergence of apocalyptic events all striking at once. And that's essentially what happened here. I got a lot of natural disasters, massive volcanic eruptions. I think there are at least 2 massive ones, huge, massively historic ones. I also got invasions. I got disease. I got everything. I got a lot of invasions. And the invasions were from a group of people that were kind of mixed. They were a mixed group of wouldn't call them terrorists, but I call them, I guess, like their own kind of giant pirate army. But it was a convergence of different events. And those giant volcanoes affected everything from weather and crops, and so which precipitated diseases and parasites and plagues and blah, blah, blah. So that was a lot of different stuff brought down the Bronze Age. Number 5. Oh, I like this one. Did the gardens of, where is it? Oh, the gardens of Babylon exist? Did the gardens of Babylon exist? I have yes. They did exist, but they're not in Babylon. I've got them being maybe 200-300 miles away. They're in a different location. And that they will find evidence. Maybe not 300, maybe closer to 200, but certainly over 100 miles away from Babylon, our current understanding of Babylon. Very, very interesting viewing I saw here. It was absolutely amazing. Fruit trees, and they were getting figs from a garden in the middle of the desert. And it was an actual colossal achievement in terms of how they're able to get water to the very top. but it was destroyed in a series of wars, and the stones and everything were broken down piece by piece. So the Gardens of Babylon did exist. Number 6. Oh, I love this one. Pumapunko. What was this building, and who built it? Was it built by aliens or advanced technology? No, it was not built by aliens. Yes, it was built by advanced technology, and the building was a special sacred temple. And this one was really interesting. There might be some science to back up this notion. The leaders of this group at the time were all people who had their, as children, had their heads flattened with this, planks in the wrappings. And so they had elongated heads. And a bizarre thing is, these elongated heads had more brain weight, more brain space, more brain matter. They were super smart. So I have a feeling, I know elongated heads have been found around the world. I have a feeling that they knew way back then that elongated heads made the people smarter, and that a lot of the rulers had elongated heads so they could lead with great wisdom. And so that's why they had advanced technology. They used ingenious methods to construct all of this stuff. You can even see up here that they've got these keystone things that were, you put 2 stones, and the other stone would have an exact one like this, and they would pour metal inside that. Absolutely way ahead of its time. These people were super, super smart. So that is Pumapunko. The next one, oh, this is going to piss off people, is the London Hammer. A hammer that's supposed to be, 100,000 years or more old. No, it's not. I didn't get it as being that old. I got it as being like 1,500 years old, something like that, or less. But I got it being modern. I'm sorry, the London Hammer is modern. How it got there was there's a strange geological fluke that, with water and a few other things, that made this accretion happen a lot quicker than was suspected, and it fell down a mine or something like that. It was in a mine shaft. That's how it got there originally. So that is the London Hammer, number 7. Now we're moving on to number 8. This one was tough. This is the Mary Celeste. The Mary Celeste was a ship that basically when another ship found it, it had all of its supplies on it. It was in great condition. It hadn't gone through a storm. And everyone was gone. What happened to it? Well, this is a couple factors, but they were ordered off the ship by the captain, essentially. I guess you could call it a mutiny in a way, but they went kind of bonkers because of a bread. I think they had that hallucinogenic bread, and a couple people went bonkers. That's what I saw. A couple people going nuts, and they thought that they were almost on land, and it was a convergence of all these weird things, but basically the captain ordered them to leave the ship, assured them the ship would be fine, they were going to go see this land together. And everyone was forced to come at the same time in the boats because they didn't want anyone stealing the ship. So that's what happened to the Mary Celeste. It was a lack of trust. 9, I love this one. The Nazca Lines. Why were they built? I've speculated on this. I hope I haven't front-loaded it too much, but the previous stuff I've done on this, I've done viewings on this before, and the answer that I got is something that I believe. And the earliest of the Nazca Lines are the petroglyphs of these animals. And these are so big, you cannot see them from the ground. You can't make out what they are from the ground. What happened was, this is the important one. You see this right here? This backs up my hypothesis. The tribes and the different groups of people saw amazing things flying across the sky towards the forest, the rainforest, which is just more easterly. From the seas across Nazca Plain to the forests, again and again and again. Sometimes they would flash lights and do dances, and they had big fires for them. And isn't that one, I've never seen this one before. It kind of blows my mind. Look at his arm. He's pointing up to the sky. That is really, really cool. Let's see if I can zoom in on this dude a little bit more. If I can get any more info out of that shape. Wow. How cool is that, gang? It could be E.T.-ish, but definitely one arm is pointing up and one is pointing down. It's like a communion of as above, so below, a communion between the sky and the ground. Really fascinating. Wow, that is really cool. I didn't notice that until right now. I've never seen that dude before. Wow, we found some evidence for this theory inside the theory while doing it. So that's pretty cool. That was actually really cool. Nazca Lines. And the final one was a really cool question that I was very curious about, and it was, what is the greatest treasure in history? And where is the greatest treasure in history? Has it been found, or is it not found yet? Well, that's kind of a mixed question. We know where it is, but we haven't seen it yet. It is the first emperor's tomb in China. Qin Shi Huang. How cool is that? I've heard about this before, but I didn't really know if it would be the most, well, when you think about it, this is the pyramid where in front of it, behind where we're looking right now, there's all those clay soldiers. I mean, thousands of them. And supposedly in this pyramid, there's a tomb and his sarcophagus. And in that room, there's a depiction of the stars above, and on the ground, in the stars above, gems are in the stars. And on the ground, all around the tomb, is a depiction of the kingdom. And the rivers are in liquid mercury. That was the legend that's been written down. And they're not allowed to go in because they don't know, they don't want to damage it and all this stuff, but they've tested some of the soil and it was incredibly high in mercury. So there's some proof to that legend. But according to my viewing, this has chests of gold and statues and some of the most amazing amount of gems ever discovered are all going to be right here. An absolutely colossal treasure. But it won't be open for quite a while. So we'll just have to remote view it for now. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. This Histories, no longer mysteries, oftentimes pisses people off. And I am just reporting what I see. I'm not perfect. I'm not flawless. But I sure give it my best. And I love you guys. And join us soon, within 6 months, for another episode of Histories, no longer mysteries. Mysteries, mysteries, mysteries.